I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the News du Jour, a calmer space to consume the news. I wanted to let you guys know that we will actually not be having any News du Jour next week. We are going to be picking back up in the new year, January 2nd. So all of next week, we will not be putting out an episode for you guys. I'm actually going to be traveling around quite a bit, and I didn't feel like I could provide you guys with the quality that I usually would. And more than that, this week between Christmas and New Year's, historically, the past 2 years, not much has gone down, and I was just scraping, looking for stories for you guys, and I just feel like it'd be better for all of us to take a little break. But that said, if anything crazy does go down and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish there was a news du jour on this, I will be putting any big news stories onto our Instagram stories. So if you guys want the scoop on anything major that goes down, definitely check it out there. If it's something crazy, I may hop into your feed and make an episode on the fly for you guys. But long story short, I will talk to you guys in 2023 after this, which is so crazy. And I definitely am going to be doing vision boards and all of the New Year's things because I am really passionate about starting the new year fresh and really being intentional about where you're headed and what you want to make your year about. Not just goals, but, what are the themes? What do you want to get out of the next year? And setting those intentions. Anywho, you can follow our Instagram for more updates like that or more content like that on what I'm going to do for the new year to kind of reset and get pumped up for 2023. So, mini stories. We pretty much just have one, but I wanted to give you guys some updates on basically the winter storm that's happening. So about 5,500 flights are currently canceled or disrupted, which makes up about 12% of scheduled air traffic for today. So that is insane, and it may be even worse by the time that you guys hear this. Nearly 100 million Americans are under a winter storm advisory currently. Here in Oklahoma, the worst should be behind us by now. I just looked and there's no more high winds, which is what I was really nervous about personally. But overall, it's time for Scrabble and hot cocoa and just burrowing in the house for most of us. So stay safe, stay warm out there, and definitely tune into your local weather channels if you are in one of these advisory areas. So for our first story today, I wanted to talk about sabotage in the FTX C-suite. So 2 former crypto executives are now pleading guilty and testifying against Sam Bankman-Fried in the federal case against him. These 2 individuals are Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang. I'm pretty sure that Caroline Ellison is Sam Bankman-Fried's ex-girlfriend, but that part of all of this seems a little bit messy from what I could gather online. But that has got to make it sting even more that she is ratting him out, especially because a lot of the charges against him actually involve him trying to move funds over to her company, Alameda, in order to help her. And Gary Wang is the former FTX founder who worked very closely with Sam. These 3, though, are way more than colleagues. They actually all 3 lived together in a penthouse in the Bahamas that was nothing short of lavish. Caroline is 28, Gary is 29, and Sam is only 30, making them all very young to be in this type of trouble and have this kind of money. Sam's bail was finally set at $250 million, and he will be released on the conditions that he wear a GPS anklet and stay within the Northern District of California. There will also be required mental health counseling for him as well. There are allegedly about $8 billion in customer funds missing from FTX. So they don't want him taking any measures to further conceal his crimes, but they also may be keeping an eye on his activities at home. So we'll see how this all shakes out, and we'll definitely keep you guys posted. And now, without further ado, we obviously have to talk about Zelensky's speech to Congress. So, as you guys probably know by now, and definitely if you listened to yesterday's episode, President Zelensky of Ukraine visited Washington, D.C., and he addressed Congress. He received multiple standing ovations from the whole group, which is pretty rare these days. Here are what I consider to be some of the highlights of his speech and his visit to Washington in general yesterday. So he spoke in English with this thick, deep, almost growling voice that I found very interesting because I don't know if I've ever really heard someone talk like that. He also used humor to diffuse moments of intensity. You know, he used to actually be a comedian, in case you didn't know, and he got some decent laughs from the audience. Zelensky said Russians will not be free until they defeat the Kremlin in their minds. And I thought that was really interesting. And it struck me because it's really so true. And it's something that I reiterated a lot in our bonus episode for patrons on the subject of Russia's Road of Bones. It's up there. If you become a patron today, you'll have access to that. But Russians have really never known true freedom or true democracy. And though overthrowing tyranny is not an easy task, it's something that begins like in your heart and your mind. As Zelensky said, they will never know that true freedom until they break out of the thinking that this is as good as it gets. Something else Zelensky noted was that giving funds and weaponry to Ukraine is not charity. It is an investment in global security. And that is so true. Our economies and collective physical safety is tied into this fight. It's not just about ethics, it's about prevention. Zelensky also said that they do not honestly have enough munitions to win the war as it stands right now. But he said that Congress does have the ability to literally save millions of human beings with their funds. Zelensky presented Congress with a flag from Ukraine with the signatures of military members, and he was also presented with an American flag that flew over the Capitol the day of his visit. Many civilians in Ukraine face lack of power, lack of running water, constant shelling, and destroyed cities. Many Ukrainians are still surviving from having witnessed horrible crimes like murder, rape, and torture of many kinds. Many parents have been separated from their children. It is important to remember that as we go into this Christmas holiday, that many in Ukraine are having to spend their Christmas under very, very different conditions. Missing loved ones, trying to survive the cold, or fighting on the front lines. It is the darkest of winters for them right now, and we cannot forget them because they are putting up a fight on behalf of us all, on behalf of the world. Because as we all know, if Putin were to conquer Ukraine, he wouldn't stop there. Their sacrifice defends us all. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." Stay safe, stay warm, and happy holidays, everyone. I will talk to you in the new year. If News du Jour has helped you stay informed over the past year, please consider becoming a patron today. Our patron packages start at just $7.99, but you can give as much as you want per month. Our patrons absolutely make our show possible. I can't overstate that. And if you are already a patron, know that you make this show possible. Thank you so much for your support, whether you're just a listener or a patron. And if you're not a patron yet, definitely consider becoming one today. You can find the link to become a patron today in our show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review or shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us be able to keep creating the News du Jour. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfreemedia. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram and just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.